Hey everybody, Small from 85 here, back again working on this sign. Now I'm going to show you all the components that I have that I've got together to put to get power to the sign. There we go. So relatively straightforward, just a couple tools that I've got. I've got a 16 gauge 3-wire cord that I'm going to be using for getting power from the wall to the switching power supply, and from the power supply to the sign. Here I've got my switching power supply. This is a Meanwell. You can see the part number there. This gives me 36 volts at 10 amps from house power in DC. So 120 AC to 36 volts DC with 10 amps of power. So this is typically used for security camera systems, things like that, servers and whatnot. So this is a pretty regular item. You can find it on Amazon. All right, so for my connectors, I've got these spade connectors. These are 16 to 20 gauge wire spade connectors. I was actually able to find a couple of specialty items, specific items for this. This is the other end of the power receptacle. So that's the female end, this is the male end with sockets. So I was actually able to pull a part number and get this special socket for it. So if you see, this fits right in there, right? And it fits right in, screws in, and it secures right onto the sign. So basically you got the pins in there. Sockets would go in here. Once you put that in there, it connects the pins to the socket, and that'll get the power to. And that's what these guys are here. So these are your corresponding socket connectors that fit into that connector piece there. So I can have the part numbers in the description if you ever end up having to do this work. But yeah, these are some specialty items. I picked it up from Mauser. They're pretty decent site. They probably do a lot of wholesale electronic stuff. So they're very good, dependable site to get things from, and not too bad. I think I spent $11 for 5 of those connectors. So this is everything that I have here, and I'm going to move on to starting to strip the wire and get the power supply together and get my power supply going to my sign. All right, so got this switching power supply set up, and I'm going to test it out. We're going to test the line voltage, and we're going to test the out voltage coming both the input and the output, to see if I'm going to get the numbers that I'm looking for. Remember, I need I'm looking for 37.5 volts DC. So I've got this plugged in. I cut the wires, I put on the spade terminals, and I connected the wires up. You can see there's a black, a white, and a green. The black is your line, the white is your neutral, and the green is your ground when it's coming out of the wall, if your outlet is wired correctly. So first things first, we're going to test the line voltage. So I'm going to set this to 200. I'm going to use AC, alternating current. That's the V with the squiggly line over it. All right. And typically your line is black. So I'm going to touch my line on here. Oh, yep. And if you're going to be working with circuits that have potential to be live, always wear protection. Doesn't hurt. If it's new gloves, it's hard to work with them. The more you wear them, the better they conform to you. Don't mess around with that stuff. All right, so I'm going to touch the black to the line and the red to the neutral, and you can see right there I got 119.3, 119.2. That's about 120. Now the ground is also connected to the neutral, so I'm going to test the ground also. Right, look at that, 120 volts. All right, so my line in is good. Now I'm going to test my line out. All right, so I'm going to switch that over to DC. That's that V with the 2 lines, the solid line, the dash line under the solid line. That's direct current DC. So I'm going to set that to 200. I'm looking for 37.5, so 200 is good. Any lower, I'm going to be over voltage, and that's not safe. So I've got V negative. So I've got my line, my neutral, my ground, and then we've got 3 negative voltage and then 3 positive voltage. the 3 there. And then I've got my rheostat, which helps me to adjust the voltages if I need to, and my indicator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the black on the V negative and the red on the V positive, and let's see what we got. So now I'm going to go far as away from each other so I don't have to cross anything. Touch it. Look at that, 37.3. All right, so this is ready for 36, and I kind of backed off the rheostat from full. So it seems like this can do more than 36 volts DC. So that's good. So I'm actually getting 37.3, which is pretty close to the money for what I need for this sign. So I'm quite pleased with what we have here. So this is a pretty good one. Now, I'm going to show you this. I'm going to switch the lines, I'm going to switch the wires, and I'm going to do the same thing. So touch one, right, touch the other, and you'll see that the number is negative. So when that number is negative, that means that you've got your wires crossed. So you want to switch them back. So 1, 2. So what I'm going to do is this is delivering my power. So I'm going to connect anything that's going into, I'm going to be connecting to V negative. Anything coming out of is going to be V positive. And that's going to give me it's going to give me my proper voltage. So most likely the 2 red wires that are going into the sign are going to be coming off of my V negative, and I'm going to have my 1 common coming out V positive on my black one. So I'm going to figure that out. All right, yeah, that's how this works. And so I'm going to be moving on to cutting up, well, cutting, but I'm basically preparing the other half of the cables, getting the terminal lugs onto the switching power supply, and then making the crimp connections to plug into the socket, which then I'm going to put into the sign, and then we'll see what we're dealing with when we get there.